I had a friend in elementary school named Jamie. And Jamie, in retrospect, was a very strange boy, but at the time I didn't understand because I was only in kindergarten, first grade. He looked a little bit like Pee Wee Herman. He also looked a little bit like a rat. He was the sort of child that would burn ants with a magnifying glass. That ought to have been a heads up, but I was very young. I didn't know yet how to filter people correctly and how to bring them into my life, people who are supportive as opposed to people who are perhaps problematic, like young Jamie. We were living in a very remote town in Illinois, an isolated Scandinavian farming community, so it was difficult for this gentleman to fit in and make friends. So I put up with more from Jamie than I probably ought to have. I would go over to his house from time to time, which was generally not allowed. He came over to my house a couple of times, and my parents tolerated him. The story that I want to tell you, though, took place in the school, first grade. We're standing in line. We're waiting for lunch, which is the most exciting part of the day, because that's when they feed the prisoners. We're waiting to get into line. And Jamie, my friend, cuts in front of me in the line. We were standing together, me, Jamie behind me. Jamie sort of shoulders his way in front of me in the line. Now, this may have been a largely Scandinavian farming community, but my mother is English, and if there's anything that she taught me, it's that the foundation of any society is waiting your turn. The line is the most sacred trust that we have with each other. It's a way of acknowledging that, yes, we all want what's at the other end of it. However, you are a human being with thoughts, feelings, and desires as well, and you got here before I did, so I will wait until you have had the thing, and then I will have it after you. The foundation of civil society, right there, according to the English, anyway. You have to overlook, of course, their colonial monstrosity. But other than that, very decent. So we're waiting in this line. I'm deeply offended that this, my friend, shoves me out of the way. So we have a bit of an argument about it. I say, hey, man, this is my spot. This is my spot. He doesn't want to hear anything of it. We have a little bit of a back and forth. We call each other some very sophisticated names. And then Jamie committed the most heinous of boyhood transgressions. He kicked me in the baseballs. I was stunned. Physically, a little bit, but mostly it's like, what is this French? I thought, what are you doing? I'm a child, but I know that this is way out of line. Who do you think you are? And I decided to respond in kind. I figured I owed him one. So I hopped up and I kicked Jamie back in his baseballs. Now Jamie, strange child, in addition to burning ants with a magnifying glass, was prone to just peeing on things all over the schoolyard. And I don't know if the constant exposure to the elements rendered his genitals particularly sensitive, or if the youthful Taekwondo training that my parents provided me made my kick stronger and truer than that of most other children. But Jamie went down like a sack of potatoes, screaming and wailing. Oh, he was going to die right there in the middle of the lunchroom. At this point, an adult finally appeared. We'd been arguing for a few minutes. They said, what on earth have you done? And I said, well, he was trying to cut in line. I figured that was it right there. I was like, well, of course, he was trying to cut in the line. He had it coming. You warned him, right? I did. Okay, well, end of story. Regrettably, not the end of that story. We were hauled into the office, and we were given our punishment. We were to write out lines 100 times. I will not kick anyone in the privates. Privates was the word they used, that particular boldlerism. I was like, this isn't very specific. Don't kick anyone in the diary? What are you talking about? I will not kick anyone in the privates 100 times. So I sat at this desk, writing it out, fuming, of course, at the great injustice of it all. Now, Jamie, we were friends. Jamie leaned in, and he saw that I was writing, I will not kick anyone in the privates. I will not. He'd been in trouble a lot more than me. He leaned in, and he said, you're doing it wrong. I was doing what wrong? I don't even want to talk to you. And he said, do it this way. You write the letter I 100 times. You write the letter will 100 times, not 100 times, and so on until you completed the sentence. It turns out it was a lot faster. It was a much better way to do it. But I wasn't surprised that he provided me with this little bit of tidbit because we were friends and he did owe me one because it was him who started the whole mess in the first place.